Hello, everyone. I am pulling Linny and Christine in right now. And I'm still talking to myself, but I don't think I'm making all of the noises that I did. Hey, that worked really a lot faster than I thought that it would.
Yay! Do you see me? Because I don't see myself.
Not yet. It's still thinking.
Okay, let's give it a minute.
Lynn,
Hello, Christine Forster. Oh, we already have some people here. So exciting.
oh, cool.
Yay!
All right. This is working faster and faster.
Wait, Christine, I see your computer. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Lenny, you're still loading for me. So
Oh, I am? Interesting.
Oh, I see her. And Christine, you're still loading. She just froze. Did she freeze for you?
Christine's frozen for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Sorry. I'm going to see. Oh, she actually asked to be involved. So I don't know if she got kicked off. This is
Oh,
fun with
yeah.
her.
I resisted the ask. I thought about it and then I was like, wait, I think I'll get an invite.
Yeah. I'm going to remove her and then I'm going to invite her again. So
All right.
let's see. Well, it is nice. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'm
Of
excited to talk
course.
to you. I
I'm
haven't.
so excited. As the
Yeah,
viewer count climbs, I'm really excited.
that is awesome. Sorry, I'm looking to see where we can. I'm sharing some of this with some of our groups.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait,
Um,
I can put it too. Let's see.
just sort of to be like, hey guys, we're here, even though all the followers actually
Do
also
know. Yeah, wait, let
got
me switch to
alerted.
my broadcast channel. I think that might do do do.
Oh, she's totally gone now. All right, let's see.
What am I doing?
I invited her.
I'm such a older millennial, but I have this fear when I tap something on my screen and I am like on camera. I'm like, "Oh, can they see what's on my screen?" And I know you can't, but that's the old lady in me, I think. I'm
No,
trying.
no, because I'll still point when I'm on the screen. I do this a lot. I've been doing remote work since 2015, and I'll start pointing with my finger at something, and I'm like, "Can you see this?" And they're like, "No." And I said, "Oh yeah, I need my mouse." So
Yeah.
you are
Yep.
not
Oh,
alone.
Christine's still frozen for me. Christine! Oh, she's gone.
Okay, I will.
It keeps kicking me out, she says. Yeah.
Okay, let's
Hmm.
see.
Well, we need you. You're
Yeah.
instrumental.
So, Christine, if you're still here, I just invited you. So let's see if that works. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
We're having technical difficulties, but we are going to get started as soon as that stops being technically difficult. Lenny, now that since you're here, do you want to sort of introduce yourself and tell everybody who's here what's happening? And
Sure, sure. So, my name is Linny Mack. I'm a romance author. I'm traditionally published with a small press called Page and Vine. We have distribution through Simon and Schuster, so I'm in bookstores, I'm on Amazon, I'm on Target and Walmart's websites. I don't know that I'll ever see it in the store, but there it is. And I write contemporary romance. I have a series called the Cape May series, set in Cape May, New Jersey. If you are not from New Jersey or from the area, it is a Victorian coastal town, that when you enter, it's at the very, very tip of southern New Jersey. And when you enter it, you feel like you're in another world. It's peaceful and relaxing and healing. And so I thought it was the perfect place for a romance novel. And yeah, so my Kate May series, it released on May 6th. She's here.
Hi,
It
hopefully it
works.
sticks. I think it was my Wi-Fi, but I'm here.
Okay. Yay. So the first book, Changing Tides, released on May 6th. I have a new one coming out on September 16th called Chasing Stars, and then the series will wrap up in March on St. Patrick's Day with the third book in the series called Choosing You.
That's wonderful.
It's so good. It's my favorite of the three. I'm lucky
It
enough to
is.
get to
It's kind
see.
of my favorite too, which is very strange. Other writers will maybe identify with this, but I had the worst time writing it. It was really, really hard to do. It challenged me, and I was kind of like writing in that world for so long that it was like a little boring to me at the end.
It
And I
doesn't.
don't
You
think it's
wouldn't know
boring.
from
I don't think
reading
it's
it
boring
at
to my
all.
readers. But I was
No,
just
it won't be.
I really struggled through the end of it, and it may turn out to be the best one. It's in developmental edits right now, so we'll see what the boss thinks. But it may turn out to be the best one, even though it was hard. I do think that about things that challenge you, they always turn out really well. Hopefully.
I think so too. And I think, you become better as a writer, whether it feels easier or not. Like sometimes you're becoming better, but it's still feeling harder because you're like always, we've all seen those, like you keep raising the bar on yourself. And I think that for sure is true, Lenny. You're hard on yourself, but you turn out amazing books as a result.
Well, you've read
Um,
everything, so I'll take that as a
take
compliment.
it, take it. Exactly.
Christine reads everything I write, so that's pretty magnificent.
Yes, we all like do. I do a good job reading both your stuff. I think we got
Yeah.
some good working relationships.
Yes.
Tara, should we do a real quick intro ourselves since we probably have some folks that are here for Lenny and don't know who we are? You want to go first?
Well, you're welcome. Go ahead and go first, and then I can do it and like sort of walk into the hot take.
Oh yeah, the hot take. Okay, cool. So I'm Christine Drummond. I am a career marketing person. I have spent my whole career in marketing, but I've always been a writer. And about 2 years ago, I wrote my first book called Kingdom of the Owl. It is a romantasy. It is the first in a 4-book series, which I accidentally announced on Instagram this week with a video that my kid made and didn't realize that was like my big like 4-book series drop. So that'll get redone. The Owl's been out on submission since April. And I actually just rewrote the whole book in the first person present tense. It used to be third person past tense, and it went back out on sub on Monday. And the reception from editors there's been some positive signals. That's all I will say. I'm optimistic. And then I also just wrote my first contemporary romance, and that will be going out on submit. One editor has it as a sneak peek, but it's going to go out on submission in September. So we
Awesome.
shall see.
That's very
Sarah?
exciting. I don't have anything coming out this recently. Thankfully, I took a break and I'm just writing right now. But I am Kara Zone. I do romantasy and dark fantasy. I also do indie publishing consulting and writing stuff, writing coaching and different things like that. My novels are Cinders Burn at Midnight. It's part 1 and 2 are out in the Trium Perfectum series, and it is a series of trilogies, and there will be 4 trilogy groups for that. And I feel like I don't have anything else to say right now about myself.
That's funny. And you said you have nothing coming out, but you just released As the Ashes Fall at Dawn. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
You just released that like a month ago. That's a pretty new release.
I did. You're right. It is a new release. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it's hard to toot our own horns.
It is. It is. But this week, the hot take, we're going to be pros and cons of hybrid authorship. Both Christine and Lenny are, going the traditional publishing route. So we are all looking at all of the different options that you have when you're starting to build your author career. So, Lenny, what would you like to talk about with hybrid authorship?
Well, so I could speak from my own first experience is I only tried to go traditional. I didn't try the indie route at all. I wrote my book with pretty much no plan in mind. It was honestly just a year and a half ago or so that I started to write it. And when I finished it, I was so elated that I actually wrote this book that I immediately turned to Google and I was like, how do I publish a book? I don't know what to do. And yes, I knew there were the indie options and everything like that, but I am an eldest daughter and I really need a lot of validation. I really need someone to pat me on the back. And so even though I also got kicked down quite a bit in my search for an agent and a publisher, I wanted someone to sort of say to me like, "Oh, this is good. We'll publish it for you." And so that was my only experience with that. And I probably would have gotten to the point where I considered indie publishing if I didn't find the success that I found. I am not opposed to doing a little bit of both. There's things I'm locked in with my publisher until 2027. And so there's things like little areas where I need to be careful. Hi. As far as indie publishing goes and what I am allowed and not allowed to do. So, but I would say it's never off the table, especially now that I've been told that I can do it. I got the permission.
We
So,
got the thumbs up.
yeah.
I think that's so important to know, right? That like even if you are shooting to go with a trad publisher, talk to your publisher, talk to your agent. Like there are agents, and Lenny and I are both with one right now. We're actually now with the same agent, which is super exciting.
She's
That if
probably
you
not
self,
watching. She's big
she's
time in
at
Nashville this week. So
yeah, she's at a killer Nashville conference. But there are agents out there who actually will say, okay, we'll put your book on submission, and if it doesn't get picked up, you self-publish it, and then I'll try to sell the audio rights or the foreign rights.
mhm.
And that's like a version of hybrid publishing, right? Like you could publish indie, you could publish trad, you could do mixes of both. So
Well,
there's a lot of options out
and
there.
what's so crazy is a lot of authors who are hybrid really started out indie. And I was in Target the other day, just walking down the book aisle, and in the romance section, the large majority of the authors in Target right now were indie first,
Hmm.
and found success, and then the publishers are picking them up because they're saying, oh well, look at this built-in audience that
Well,
this
and
author has.
right, and
Yeah.
that's sort of that's one of the really cool things because you can sit there and say, well, this is what I did and have leverage going in. But I know that other agents that do hybrid publishing also can do screenplays too, so they can sell your screenplay right and everything. That's another
Yes.
Yeah,
opportunity.
so our agent Katie does have my film and TV rights currently for both of my series.
That's exciting.
I am still such a baby author that I don't know the rules around it, but I had read something somewhere that was like once you have 5,000 sales across all platforms, is a good time to start seeking film and TV rights or sales. So we have not ventured down that path yet, and I am very locked in. So I I honestly don't need anything
Exciting.
else to stress me out more than I already am.
Yeah.
So, but
Wait,
it
now
would
I
be
have to think
wonderful.
about casting, like fan cast.
Well, and that's
Oh,
the thing too. Like you have an agent, and it sounds like she's going to advocate the hell out for you. But like a lot of the places, like Netflix or Disney, which I know is a huge idea, but they will buy the rights, and
yes.
they own everything. Like you'll still get like a commission or whatever, but they can do whatever the hell they want with all of the characters and stuff too. So it's always important to keep that in mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And so
to,
I think there's like and somebody please chime in the comments if I am speaking out of turn or I'm incorrect, but I believe it initially starts as your book is optioned for
yeah,
film or TV, and so they pay you a certain amount of money to have those rights for a certain amount of time. And then if they don't make a movie out of it, then
It
then it
reverts.
falls through,
Yes.
but you're kind of signing it over for just a limited amount of time, which is maybe helpful for someone like me who's nervous about life.
Yeah.
So,
No, the one thing I wanted to mention with regard to hybrid that I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about is money, which I feel like no one in publishing wants to talk about money, but like let's talk about it because it's again like pulling back the curtain. If you go trad, right, you don't have to pay anything. If
correct.
you are in a situation where you think you're getting trad published and someone asks you for money, you're
Yeah,
not.
that's called
That's
a
a big red
vanity
flag.
press,
yeah.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that is not the direction you want to go.
Exactly. So, I mean, the pros of trad publishing are you don't have to lay out any money. You get best in class cover design, editors, formatting, marketing, and theory. We'll talk more about that later. And you get an advance, hopefully, although there are some trad publishers out there that do not pay advances.
Usually, if they
The
don't
flip
pay in
side,
advance, the royalties will be higher. But yes,
exactly. The flip side is it's going to take longer for you to see royalties because you have to out
For
earn it,
sure.
right? So you have to make the
Yeah.
publisher back all that money that they paid you in advance. It's not a gift, it's not a lump sum, it's an advance,
Correct. Correct.
right? So on the flip side, indie publishing, you got to pay for all of that stuff
Yeah.
that Tribe Publishing pays for. But the second you put your book on KDP or wherever you put it, I mean, I think you have to wait. There's a little bit of a waiting period, maybe a month or a quarter. Carrick, you could tell us.
Yeah. It's 3 months.
3
3 months.
months. Oh, okay.
But you start earning those royalties right away. Now you're
But
probably
that's
going to be in the
actually that's
hole a
longer than
little
I
bit.
thought,
Well,
actually.
yeah, and you know what? It's really interesting because I'm getting my royalty payments from like June are coming in right now, and I'm like, okay, I got to keep that in mind also. But um, what is yes, you get royalties and stuff like that, but like places like Ingram Spark, who does the print, they you have to pay for those type of things, and then you get whatever is capped off top. Amazon takes a chunk of your royalties because the distribution fees and everything like that. But yeah, you do start to get your own money back, sort of. But yes, it also is like
There's a
it
waiting
takes a long
period.
time to pay everything off that goes into it in the first place. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you think of it, you're a small business, so this
yes,
is your overhead cost. And actually, I will say that was a big reason. I was a stay-at-home mom, okay? So we are a one-income family in southern New Jersey. The cost of living is not cheap. And I thought about if I were to go the self-published route. I actually, like, when I was querying, this is a little bit off topic, but when I was querying, we were on our way to an event at the Eagle Stadium, and I think I had gotten a rejection that day or something, and I was just very distraught in the car on the way over. And I said to my husband, I think I'm going to pay for a developmental editor because, like, maybe there's something really wrong. And he was like, the hell you are. He's like,
Yeah,
aren't you
it's
going this
expensive.
direction so that you don't have to pay for an editor? And he was right, of course. But I had the realization right then that if I was going to decide to indie publish, I was on my own financially, and I would have to, like, figure out how to do all that, which is another reason why I threw myself to the wolves.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's okay.
I mean, I guess to
You
to
just have to
sort of
know. You have to know what you're getting into.
well,
For sure.
yeah, I mean, I think you should know either route because neither is easy. And I know
No.
that there's a stigma like if you don't get picked up by an agent, it's easier to go publish you're by yourself, and it just isn't. Like neither
No, there's
route.
different types of hard for
Yeah,
sure. For
exactly.
Yeah.
sure. I think
So
you
I'm so
really,
sorry. Oh, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. I was just going to say that if you're going trad, the thick skin is probably the most important thing you need to have
Yes.
going into it. Just, your feelings are going to get hurt a lot.
Yeah,
And, but the other side of it, the hard on the indie side, is a little different. It looks more like going into business for yourself,
it
maybe.
does, and you still have to. It's the same. It's different kind of rejection, but the thick skin does come fast. I don't
Come
know if
there
it's
too.
faster or not, but it kicks you in the teeth a lot too.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
yeah,
and the
for sure.
reviews, I mean, we can get into all of that. And we have so
yeah,
many questions from our
we
amazing
do.
followers.
Okay, let's
Do
do
we
it.
want to
Let's
get
do
into
it.
them?
Yeah, let's do the questions for sure.
Okay.
So we are talking. I think when we first started talking, we did actually ask, or somebody, Amanda Sluthlak. Sorry, Amanda, I know that was terrible. She's asking about publishing and creative control. So she asks, is it even possible for traditional publishers? Excuse me, is it even possible for traditional publishing authors to be included in the process, for examples with cover design and such, or will the author always be forced to watch from the sidelines? She is an indie author. I do know her. She lives all the way across the pond. So,
Okay, so I'm gonna speak from the small press experience because my small press page and Vine is founded by Meredith Wild, who was an indie author first. And so her approach is really magnificent. I can't say a bad thing about my experience. I can't speak to I like how do I make the comments go away? Because now I can't see myself. Okay, anyway. Um her approach is very inclusive. And so if there is I was on vacation last week and we were going back and forth on the covers for my next series, And I had them change things like 3 or 4 times, and I had full say. And she would never, I don't think, ever force me to change anything I didn't want to change, even going into edits and things of that sort. If I felt very strongly that I didn't want to make a developmental edit, I really feel that we would find common ground. I can't speak for a big five publisher because I do think there are more stipulations involved and more approvals needed at higher levels. But I'm working very directly with my editor and my publisher and my marketers. And it's a great, small, close knit team that lets me play a full role in it, which is amazing. It's kind of the best of
These
both
are,
worlds.
I think these are great questions if you are in that position of having an agent and getting an offer to
Yeah.
understand what
Yeah.
you're getting yourself into. I think a lot of people know about Lauren Kay. She's a great resource. I remember reading a blog post she wrote about her experience publishing her book. I think she is with a big five publisher. And she said that like she had Pinterest boards of like book cover ideas. And she even had like, which I have too, a crazy like AI mock-up that was horrendous. But she sent it to them. And what they came up with, if you looked at what she had and what they had, like it was reminiscent of it. Like they took her ideas and transformed it into something very high end. So I do think there's input across the board, but the level of like final say probably is where it varies.
Yeah,
Well,
I would say the final
oh,
say.
sorry. Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no, you're okay. You're okay. I was just gonna say, when we were starting to think about my next series, it's called Tidehaven, and it's a South Carolina fishing village that I made up. And they are romantic suspense. And so my publisher Meredith, initially sent me an email and said, hey, what are you thinking for these covers? Can you send me some visuals of what you think it looks like there and what sort of covers you already like? And it
Yeah,
was a very, very open conversation. So that's all I was going to add.
Oh,
love that.
I think that's sort of a testament is, obviously, Lenny, you probably have a little bit more different of an experience, but I think going in with as much knowledge as you can or learning, like if you're going to go into this, even if you're doing it as you're querying or even if you're doing it as you're doing indie publishing, just sort of seeing like what your options are. Because I know,
Right.
Christine, I think we had talked about this before, but a lot of people, you get the first agent letter, like the first request, and you're like, that's my agent. It has to be my agent. And it doesn't have to be that way.
No, no.
4 agents later for me.
Um,
That's a whole other story.
so
Yeah.
Zephyr Moonchild asked, I love to know how much freedom you get with traditional publishing. Oh, never mind. This is kind of the same question. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry,
I
Zephyr.
tried to
No, that's
group I
okay.
tried to group them. But yeah, just so she knows we answered her question too, Zephyr Moonchild. You asked the same question as Amanda.
Um, and she's one of my street team members, and I don't know if she's thinking about
Oh,
starting to write or starting to authorship. So that's really cool.
Nice. Yeah.
So some author experiences and challenges with like stress and mindset. Grace asks, how do you stay sane on sub? Can you talk about the mental load of waiting? Oh my God, or OMG, sorry. I
OMG.
could talk
Love you,
about that
Grace.
for weeks. So Grace is on sub right now. I think that's very
Yes.
important to talk about.
Yes. It's terrible. There's there's not a very easy way to say it. If you're this personality type, right? Like I am very much a person that likes to be in control. And so like even when I was querying, right, and I was looking for an agent, I still felt in control because if I got a rejection, I would just send another query and it was just in my hands completely. When you're turning over your manuscript, baby, to your agent and saying, here, go forth and sell my book, it's very hard because especially like, and it depends on who your agent is and how communicative they are. Katie, our agent, pretty much knew from the start that I need my hand held. Um, and she's very, very good about it. I know she's the best. She
Texting all
works,
day, every
works.
day with me and Lenny, which like Godspeed, Katie. She's a
I
gem.
mean, I gotta be honest. I think our relationship with Katie is very special. I don't think it's the norm for clients to just be able to text their agent when they feel like it. Katie and I were fast friends. She started driving to my events. She lives in upstate New York, and she would drive hours to come and see me or surprise me at events. And it's a friendship as much as it is a partnership, which is so wonderful, but also not normal. So if you're an agent and you are not like that, please do not think that it is
Yeah.
typical. However, Katie knew I needed my handheld. She has a very nice process where she has a spreadsheet for all of her clients. She can see who they, or you can see at any time it's shared who you're sub to, if you got replies. And you can look when you're in a good headspace as opposed to like just getting an email, here's a rejection, I'm forwarding to you when you're not expecting it. And I still had a couple of those. There was one day last fall before my offer came where we live in sort of a suburb of a bigger area that we don't have a Trader Joe's. And so me and my friends like hop in the car and we make Trader Joe's like a date. And so we were all getting in the car to go to Trader Joe's. And one of my rejections came in that I was like really hoping to work with. And it ruined my day. And I was like, see,
It
I
does.
should not be attached to my phone or my spreadsheet all the time, because it was like, I'm happy this morning and then crashed a wave of despair. So
I mean, God speed to our husbands, or thank God for our husbands who had to put up with the emotional roller coaster of those times. Like for me with querying, it was 6 months of that. Cause I like when I signed with my old agent, I was like, can you just give me my submission updates on Fridays? Because I have email PTSD. Like I don't want every time like I look at my phone to be like, what's gonna happen?
but I mean, good for you
And
for like knowing yourself well enough to say that,
yeah,
because I was still so afraid to like let go of the control or miss something, despite the fact that I know if something came in, Katie would have called. It wouldn't have
of
been,
course, of
but of
course.
course I was like, I need to know every second, the second it comes in. And that's not good for your mental health. It's not.
Well, and jumping on
No.
that, AR Lines, she is an indie author too, but it's not. Um, but she says traditional publishing sounds like it should be easier, but from what I keep hearing, it's not all rainbows and unicorns, which we are talking about.
Hmm.
She's just curious about how hard it is to find a good agent, which I think Christine, not that any of your not your other agent wasn't bad, but it seems like there's almost
I
more
hope he's
work.
not watching.
He
Well,
wasn't bad. He was lovely. He was
yeah.
he was lovely. He's a lovely person.
It seems like it's almost more work than just self-publishing. Do you want me to
Yeah.
repeat the question? Sorry.
No. I think the work is equivalent for sure. It's just what you're responsible for as the author is different.
She's just wondering how to find a good agent.
Oh, how to find a good agent.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe, I mean, I could jump in on this one because I've done a little bit more moving around than Liddy has. Liddy like hit it, like
yes.
struck it out of the park right from the get-go. And I honestly have like all of the agents that I spoke to that I had offers from, it was a very hard decision, like pros and con lists for days. Like everybody brings something different to the table. I think a lot of it comes down to personality fit. Like what Lenny said about Katie's approach in terms of being super communicative, super organized, super transparent. Like that's my love language. Like when she set me up with like a Google Drive folder with all of these things, like when I signed with her, I was like, I literally emailed her. I'm like, this is my love language. Like I'm so excited. So I think listen, it's hard to find an agent. It is so competitive. Like I was in the querying trenches for months and I still see people on threads like breaking down about the experiences they're having. And I think you just have to trust your instincts because you may only get one offer and you may say, this person is not perfect, but I just need an agent to get me started. And so I'm just going to go with them and I'm going to make it work. And
Yeah.
then maybe in a few months or a few years, I reevaluate, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, I switched agents 4 months into being on sub, 5 months after I signed my first contract. That's like unheard of. People usually give it more time, but I had an opportunity and it just, again, I trusted my gut. It felt right. And now I feel like I'm in a better position with both of my manuscripts. So it is very hard to find an agent. I think with self-publishing, it's easier to get your book published more quickly, but it's a ton of work like set all that up, right? But you're in control of the timeline. With trad publishing, I mean, I wrote Kingdom of the Owl 2 years ago, and it still doesn't have a home. You're not in control of that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And Lenny, do you have anything to add to that?
I was just going to say, I didn't know the first thing about finding an agent, and I took to Twitter, former Twitter. I took to Reddit. I took just to Google in general. How do I find an agent? And then, people on the Reddit forum, Pub Tips is a very good one. Advising you sort of what to look for in an agent, only query in batches. Guess who didn't listen to any of the advice?
Yeah.
And I sent out probably 40 queries before I found Katie, and a lot of them went unanswered. Query Tracker is, you could like stalk Query Tracker forever to see where you are in the list and did they get to me yet. It will drive you crazy as being on sub. But it all comes down to a personality fit, basically. And so I got very lucky with Katie. We went back and forth on Twitter, and it was just a sort of situation where we were fast friends. But before that, I got one rejection from an agent. And if somebody really wants to know who it is, you can send me a DM. She's a big agent and she's fantastic. She's also an author. And she sent me a rejection and said, I just want to, put this out there before you go any further. You have a lot of what we call in the industry info dumping in the beginning of your manuscript.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
she's like, this is why I'm telling you no, but you may, before you go further, want to consider rewriting it. And so immediately I got to work, but Katie already had my opening chapters. So I immediately rewrote them. And then I went back to Katie and said, hey, I rewrote my whole beginning. Do you want to see it? And she did. And that's
Oh,
how I got lucky. But that first agent giving me the tip, because in my mind, all of that information was really important to my character. And it became like sort of a character sketch for me. And it was information that I needed to learn and say out loud, but doesn't necessarily need to be stated in the book. So it's just kind of cool. And if you are going back and forth with agents and getting lucky enough to get responses like that, they can be very helpful.
they absolutely can. This is sort of, we have kind of like a clump of some kind of similar ones. We're going to like throw their names out there and sort of do a generalized question. But Diary of a Book Babe, Eris Marriott, and I had one more. I'll just leave it at that. To Nick J. Ripley asked something similar, but it's a little bit more on hybrid publishing. But any advice for writers who want to go traditional? What would you have done differently? And how many queries do you send out at a time before you start tweaking them? So
We have very different opinions on that one, Lenny. So go first, and then I'll chime in with my 2 cents.
Well, listen, I would not have sent 40 queries at once. I would not have blasted. And at the time, I was very hopeful, very uh confident, maybe unnecessarily so. And so I did just think, okay, I can just send these out, and I'll one of these has to be the agent. And so I probably would go back and do, and in fact, I have author friends who have come after me that I've said, wait, don't send out 20, send out 10, and then,
Yeah.
have someone look at it. It's very hard to feel like you are in that spot and that you even have someone to look at it for you. Like, I didn't have anyone to look at it for me. I didn't know anybody. I was just trying this like a shot in the dark. And now that I've found my community, if I had to go back and do it again, I would
yeah.
definitely have Christine look at it or somebody
Right,
else.
well, and here's what I would recommend, knowing everything that I know. First of all, do not start querying until, yes, you have an experienced, ideally somebody who has trad publishing experience, but I know that that is not easy to come by when you're just starting out. I didn't know anyone in trad publishing. All my first writer friends were indie authors. I'm still friends with them now. I hired a submissions coach, which I talk about all the time, and now I do submissions coaching. So if you need someone to look at your stuff, hit me up, but get eyes
She's
on
very
it,
good.
It was a good pitch too.
because when I started, I didn't do that. And so my first 15 queries were kind of a waste. I mean, nothing is a waste. It's all data, but I sent out, that was my first batch, 15, maybe 18, and I got 9 rejections. 50% rejection rate in like a couple of weeks is high, people. So if that's what you're getting, it's data. Um, I also queried all of my top agents first. Do not do that. I was like, oh, who's Sarah J. Maas's agent? I'm going to query her first. Cassandra Clare's agent. Big mistake. Anyway, it all worked out. But I would say batches of 10, and I'm a market researcher. 10 is not a reliable sample size. It's very frustrating, but you don't want to waste all of your like best top agents on your first sends. You want to send them out, pick a good time of year. Don't pick summer. Don't pick between Thanksgiving and New Year's. Pick a good time of year where you think you're going to get a response and see what happens, and then pivot. And the other thing I did, and this is actually how I met Linny, I was like on Instagram watching everyone like a hawk. Like if somebody posted, oh my God, I got like 3 full manuscript requests, which I have a friend who I was like, hey, can I see your query letter? Like I'm querying too. I'd love to compare notes. And she was like, oh my God, yes. And will you look at mine? I rewrote my query letter again based on hers, same structure, started getting full requests. So it's like, you got to just like keep, what's the word? You got to like stay hungry, kind of stay like sharp. So those would be my recommendations.
It's funny
No,
that you say that. Sorry,
oh
Kara.
no,
I
I
cut
was
you
just
off. I
gonna,
cut you off. It's like because there's a little delay, and
yeah,
so I'm sorry. Go ahead. You say
no,
yours, and then I'll say mine.
okay. There is a delay. We'll blame that.
Yeah.
I'm not rude. Christine, I actually watched Christine and how she had a lot of stress with it, but she continually kept adjusting and adjusting and pivoting and pivoting. And she didn't, while it was frustrating and hard, even just to watch, because it was rejection. She didn't give up and didn't just continually try the same exact thing and beating your head against the brick wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually forgot about this. I didn't know anybody at the time, and I didn't have a big community other than that. I was looking at like the writing community on Twitter. And my husband said, oh, this guy I used to work with writes young adult. He's like, maybe you could talk to him about how he found his agent. And he did set me up with him, and he writes young adult. And he did look at my query letter, make some edits to it. And then
Oh.
when I sent that, his version is when I got the response from the agent who said, you have too much info dumping. But a lot of my responses before that were very canned, very much, this isn't for me, this doesn't fit my list,
Yes.
Um,
Right.
so
And that's
Tap
where
that
even,
network.
yeah, personal
yeah.
rejections are really not rejections because you did something well enough to catch somebody's attention. So even if they're not the right agent for you, we were talking a little bit about this next question before because we were sort of like hybrid publishing, what's the pros and cons, and we had been talking about a couple of different things. So the second question Nick J. Ripley asked are, if you start, he's already self-published, so he's indie published.
Okay.
If he decided to start querying those indie books, what are some advantages to switching traditional? But I also would like to add, can you? So, or what is sort of the process? Um,
So can you go to traditional? Is that what you're saying, Kara?
can
You're
you
adding that?
take the books that are indie? Well, no, like I know that we had kind of talked about another project you guys were working on and sort of like what the hoops you may or may not have to jump through because of contractual things.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So the first part is he can absolutely query those books to have an agent to get sub rights sold, which I think would be a huge asset to any indie author to be able to have audiobooks, to be able to have it in translated into foreign languages. I would say definitely do that if that's a direction you want to go in. And then there are some publishers, mine in particular, that do take previously published indie authors, usually if they're in the middle of a, at least from what I observed, so I don't want to speak on their behalf, but usually if they're in the middle of a series, perhaps, that they see continuing, what they would do is republish the first books traditionally with a developmental edit, maybe a new cover design, and then audio rights and things of that sort go along with that. And
Mm-hmm.
then they would continue the series in traditional. Not all publishers do that. Mine does. And mine also, I believe, works hand in hand on, there's another imprint that they work hand in hand with indie authors specifically to sort of share the responsibility, I think. But again, I can't speak to that side of things. And if you want to go hybrid and you are already traditionally published, if you're already indie published, it's not really a big shift because you are your own entity, right? So it's not a big shift to go traditional if you're indie first. If you're traditional first and then you want to go indie or do something indie on your own, you do have to read your contract very carefully and make sure there aren't any like non-competes or areas. So if I wanted to indie publish something, I can't on 60 days of either side of one of my releases with my publisher. So it kind of limits me personally, because I'm releasing a book every 6 months until 2027. So there's really not a lot of time to just insert an indie book in there, but it is not impossible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Christine, do you have any insights on that too?
I mean, the only thing I will say is, I mean, I had a client recently who had published 5 books indie and then wanted to finally start exploring trad. And so she found an agent, again, who is willing to work in a variety of ways. It's not, there are some agents who are like, we are going big 5, traditional everything, and that's it. So know that the pool of agents, I think, who are interested in working with indie authors who want maybe just foreign rights sold or audio rights sold is smaller but growing, right? So you want to look for that type of agent. And then I think the pool of publishers who are going to say, hey, this indie book has already been out for a year or two, and now I'm going to pick it up and republish it, like you were saying, Lenny, is probably pretty small. There
Yes.
are publishers that are out there looking for, it happens a lot in romantasy, right? Like Spark of the Everflame, Quicksilver, these books that were self-published, but gained so much momentum that like these big 5 publishers snapped them up, and now they're
Yes.
bestsellers. It
And that's
happens.
happening in
It's
romance
rare.
too.
Yeah.
Uh,
So jumping, oh, sorry, go ahead, Lenny.
No, I was just going to say the pool is small, but I think it depends ultimately on what your goal is. So if your goal is only a big 5 publisher, only in all the major bookstores with a national buy, and your book can be found in airports, right? Then you're not going to have an easy time finding a big 5 publisher to do that without a gigantic audience from your indie publishing. But
Right.
if you are
Exactly.
willing to go a little smaller, like I personally wouldn't trade my experience for anything in the world. Honestly, small press is the way to go, in my opinion. I'm having the best time. My opinion matters, and my books are in the store, which is what I set out to do, and that was the only thing that mattered to me, was being able to see my book on a shelf in Barnes and Noble. And I think if you're willing to compromise in some areas, then it does make sense, and it is possible to be hybrid and be sort of in business for yourself and have the bookstore side of things too.
And that's such a
Yeah.
great story. I'm so glad it's working out for you that way too, because more people need to hear that kind since it's such a scary
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
We have a question kind of bouncing off of that from Becca Free. She was curious. She would love to hear about common mistakes that you have heard about or maybe experiencing now made with new authors when signing book deals, such as accepting deals that aren't great in the long run, choosing the wrong publisher for their genre, or not getting the right answers in initial meetings.
I would say the mistakes that I made were surrounded by querying and being in a rush in general.
Right.
This industry is a slow moving. Oh, Christine, you're frozen. I hope you're coming back.
Me
um,
too.
in general, this industry is a very slow moving industry, and it doesn't, if you are always waiting for someone else to do what they need to do so that you can do your part. And so, I mean, as far as taking deals that don't, oh, she's gone.
We'll get her back.
As far as, taking deals that don't make sense for you or whatever, I would just say like patience really is a virtue in this sense. And I am an anxious person, so I always want to know what's coming next. What's coming next? What's coming next? I need to prepare myself for it. And so that's how I ended up with my next deal, because I pitched it as soon as I knew I was ready to. And I would say there is something to the patience. If you can make yourself be patient and kind of stick it out. Oh, her phone overheated and stopped working. She just messaged. Oh no. I would say if you can make yourself be patient, that is the key, because mistakes are made when you're in a hurry. And that applies to all areas of life,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, and again, there's that whole idea that, and I have not gone through this experience. I've watched people go through the experience, just even starting to query and stuff like that. You get such an idea in your mind that it is the golden ticket.
Mhm.
And once you get the agent, everything opens up. And it's just not that way, realistically. Um,
I always tell people this story. I just sort of expected it all, like you said, to happen fast for me, because I happened to click with the first agent that really showed interest, and I signed with her quickly in
yeah.
terms of how long it takes to find representation. And so when I went on sub, and I was like 4 months in on sub, I was in a black hole, like, of depression, to the point where my husband was like, "You cannot live like this. This is ridiculous. Your family needs you. Your validation does not come from whether or not your book gets published." And he was like giving me the tough love. And then he suffered a very severe retinal detachment, and he lost his eyesight in October, right before my book deal. And it's back, but he not before he had 3 surgeries to repair. The first 2 were emergent, and he spent pretty much all of October on his side or his face down. And um it was like a reality check for me. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, yes, I have this goal, and yes, I want to be a published author, but this is a no way to live, and so I was really, it was sort of like a, you know what, I can always go back and put my book out there myself if I really want it that badly. And it was a moment of like, of just a wake up call for me.
Yeah.
And don't you know, at in the middle of his 2 emergency surgeries, he had one, he was face down, and I had left the house, left him briefly to go and pick up our daughter from school, and I got the phone call that I was getting an offer.
Wow.
And I felt like it was transcendent. Like, just as soon as that wake up call came for me, and I said, you know what, this doesn't matter as much as I'm making it matter, is when I was able to sort of move forward. But it does. I think patience and not putting all your stock and your self-worth into this. Like,
Yeah.
yes, it's a job, and yes, it's something you enjoy, but that's not like your entirety of a person. So
I mean, that sound, I was scared just, I mean, I mean, it's horrifying to hear that. So I'm glad that everything is okay. It sounds
oh my
like it was
God.
scary as hell,
It
especially with
was terrible.
children. Yeah.
It was
I'm sure.
terrible. Honestly, like, outside of watching your spouse have a heart attack or something, it's probably one of the worst things to ever have your spouse endure and
Yeah.
have to be there for them, because it's just very scary.
Yeah.
You don't know, is my sight going to come back? I've had this my whole life. I can't move on if I can't see. So, but it was a moment for me. Like, I think I needed literally a slap in the face. So,
I mean, if it's gonna do it, it's gotta
it
do it.
it
Like,
did it. It did it. Yeah.
thank you,
So.
life. So we've been on a call for about 50 minutes.
Mhm.
We have a couple of different things, sort of like about money, like is the pay better, or from the Magic Quill, also from KG. It sounds like even in traditional publishing, authors still get stuck with the marketing. Is that accurate? I think they're not really the same, but I think we can, if you
Yeah,
have
I can
time to
speak to
talk
those
about it.
things. So, is the pay better? I mean, I can't speak from the indie side of things, but I think one thing that I did not know going into traditional publishing that I want to clarify is, you might get an advance, and your advance is in your contract at different times it comes out. So even if you get, a 5-figure advance, you're not getting that 5-figure in one lump sum. You're getting it when you deliver certain things. So like when the finished manuscript is delivered, or when the developmental edits are redone, or when you sorry, Christine just said she
Yeah,
requested. You got it? Okay.
I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the advance is paid out, but then you're not seeing any more money until the royalties come in, until you've earned out your advance. And so you, like, I didn't know this. So let me I'm kind of talking in circles here. So your royalty periods are January 1st to June 30th, and then June 30th to December 31st. And so you may earn out your advance, but like for me, my book came out in May. Well, I didn't earn out my advance from May 6th to June 30th. So my first royalty check is probably zero. I might have a statement with how much I've sold in that period of time, but I'm not expecting to see any money. And so the time period where you are going to see a return on your work and your investment is wide. And so the next time I would see a check would maybe be April, and hopefully that one is better. But so aside from advances, it's usually just twice a year. I think there are some presses that pay out like quarterly. But that is that is better or worse. I don't, it's all going to depend on your individual deal. I will say it's enticing to get a monthly check from Amazon. I think especially if you're trying to make this a career, but then going into the marketing thing, is it's all sides of it, right?
Yeah,
So, and there's a common misconception that if you're traditionally published, you don't have to market. That is not true. It's
great.
actually in my contract that I will work as a team with my publisher to market my books. And so does all of it fall on me? Certainly not. I would not have the reach or the audience that I have without them.
Yeah,
Or I would have had to work a lot harder to get it. However, I am busting my butt on the regular
yeah,
with daily content to stay relevant, to stay, present on social media. And I think that's a huge, huge part of it that people aren't necessarily prepared for. And it is it does make people feel a little disillusioned when they realize sometimes that it is going to fall on them a little bit too.
yeah.
So, you know,
Well,
but
again, right, like that's that golden ticket myth, right? Like you just get the
sure.
door and you open it. So I love
No,
talking about the realities of this because I think that it helps gauge somebody's expectations in a way where they
absolutely.
won't just give up if it doesn't work out like that for
I
them.
mean, honestly, it really is like anything in life. If you want to do well, or you want to move out of your current circumstances, you kind of have to take the bull by the horns and do it yourself. And
Yeah,
so, my publisher is wonderful. They send beautiful PR boxes to their influencers, and they're fantastic. There she
yay,
is.
hi.
Hi.
Let's see if it
Okay.
sticks, guys. Let's see if it sticks. We only got
I'm
like
so happy.
7 more minutes left.
Um,
Perseverance.
but yes, and it's my personality type too, because
Mhm.
I'm a control freak. I do like to have a big say in how I market myself and my brand, and things of that sort. So
Yeah,
I put a lot of effort into that, and it is what you make of it. But if you want to succeed, you want your Amazon rankings to climb, you would be remiss to not be present on
right.
social media and doing your best to market.
Well, and to sort of speak from the Amazon perspective, I don't have all of my books in KDP, but it is an instant gratification thing. Like, oh, I made money today, but that money can sometimes be 1 cent. Like
Hmm.
it's not tens of dollars, it's 1 cent. But at least I
Right.
know that I've made it.
Yes. Yes. I have this like obsession with my Amazon ranking. I will look at my Amazon ranking. The window is always open on my computer. It's a disease.
Well,
Um But
jumping
then
on, oh, sorry again.
no. But
It's okay.
then there's book scan too. So if you're traditionally published, you can see book scan on your I don't know, can everybody see book scan on their Amazon ranking? No, so it's a it covers about 80% of the paperbacks sold from retailers in store. And the
Oh,
sometimes it is like indie bookstores don't always report, but like Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Target,
cool.
Walmart, they report these numbers. And so then they tell you, like, whoa, your book scan number, you're supposed to multiply it by 3, and that's really how many paperbacks you sold. So you can
Mm.
become very obsessed with the data. And it's not the best either, but you want to know that you're doing your best. And so like
Um,
for me, I want to know I'm really putting all this effort out here to be on social media and to connect with my readers and to respond to messages. I want to know that it's translating, so I do tend to look a lot.
And
well,
I mean,
and
just to build on that, because I think a lot of times these questions also come from a place of people are like overwhelmed with social media and they don't
Mhm.
necessarily, even though it's true, like if you want the best chance for success, you got to market yourself and not just on social media, right? You got to get out and pound the pavement. Lenny's event schedule is like insane. And we see indie
Yeah,
authors doing
especially
it too.
November.
Yes, but I remember what Rachel said on our last live, like one platform, focus on one platform, one audience, scaling
Mm-hmm.
that. Don't feel like you need to be on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads. I mean, if you want to, great, but if you're overwhelmed, take 30 minutes a day, take
yeah,
one platform and just do it, right? And like there are amazing best-selling authors who are like not on social media at all. So you may get to a point where you can have a team do it or you don't need to do it anymore. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like in the beginning, like try not to let it overwhelm you because it can totally impact your mental health and take you down
Yes.
a bad path. And we've all been there. At least I know Lenny and I have. Like Kara,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you have too.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find that balance, and it's not worth. It's not. I don't know that it's gonna like make or break your career if you're not spending so much time every day on Instagram. Like Victoria Aveyard just posted something about this, and she is a New York Times bestselling author, and she does do great on Instagram. But she's like, even that feeling of like, oh, if I could just go viral, I'll be like the most successful author of all time. Like that never is going to go away. So don't like let it consume you. Just it's
well,
not worth it.
well, I'm building off of that, and this isn't necessarily a traditional publishing question, but it is really interesting because we're talking about mental health, and we are almost out of time, so I just wanted to ask it really quickly.
Sure.
We've all had it. How do you handle bad reviews and not let it bring you down too much, Lenny?
I cry.
She
I
messages me, Christine.
I have a disease, and Goodreads is open on my desktop right now, and I do read the reviews. I have gotten much better as far as now. I'm sort of just looking at percentages, right? And
No.
so I'm like, all right, my percentage is hanging in there. My husband's like, haven't you ever taken a statistics class? Which no, I haven't, because my degree's in literature from a liberal arts college, and I didn't have to. But you're not gonna, your percentage isn't gonna change that much now because you've reached a certain number of reviews where it's not gonna have that big of an impact. But I was, for a period of time, was very obsessed with the reviews, and they sting. It's like I saw
Yeah.
somebody put, was it you, Kara? I think I always go back to this, but somebody put on Threads, I think it was maybe you. You're being an author is so interesting because you're like, here's my book, a piece of me, my soul. Please rate it 1 to 5. And
Although Lena,
say that again.
posted that it went viral. Lena posted that
Yeah.
and it went
Yeah,
viral.
it wasn't
Yeah,
me, but yeah.
Oh, was it Lena? Okay.
Lena.
I, yeah, I always relate to that because that's what it is. It is, you're putting your work out there and it is a piece of you. And I know that it's not for everyone. I know not everyone is going to want to read a traumatic romance that makes you cry and then makes you happy. And it's a roller coaster. It's not for everyone. But I'm also of the mindset, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I've always been like this. My feelings get hurt very easily. And I just, so again, it's my husband is my support partner, and he's like, please
Mhm.
stop living like this. It is not good for you.
That's
So I
great.
don't have an answer to that. There's no healthy way to live with reviews other than to block Goodreads. And you can get that. You can get that for your web browser. But did I do that? No, I didn't.
Lena actually, she told me, so she only looks at 4 and 5 star reviews, and it may be different now because this was a little bit before, but Lena's like, I only I only filter the 4 and 5-star reviews because all the other ones I don't want to read.
Oh, well, I have a disease and I scroll all the way to the bottom where it's like,
Yeah.
uh, click here to see more or whatever. So I click on them and then I can see exactly who left it.
Yeah.
And then I click their review and then I click what they average giving other people.
It's
I'm,
gonna
I'm
kill me
admitting
when the
this.
time comes.
I'm
The
admitting this
only advice I
publicly.
give. Oh, sorry.
You're
There
fine.
is a lag, at least for me. I was just gonna say the only advice I give people, because I know I'm gonna be a basket case when this time comes, is find your favorite author on Goodreads and just click on the 1-star reviews and just read them
That
until you
does
feel
help.
better.
That does
Yeah,
help. Because
Well,
there's
yeah.
always going to be someone that doesn't like it. And that's
yeah.
just the nature
Can't
of the
make everyone
business.
happy.
Well, and
Exactly.
in my situation, I was a ghostwriter. So I saw reviews all the time of my ghostwriting stuff. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I can handle that. That's fine. But when my
Yeah.
book came out, I was fucking pissed and
Yeah.
sad and crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yep.
was like,
Yeah,
no.
your name's on it.
And I was totally floored that I was reacting that way. And like after a week, I was like, okay, I'm not, I mean, I still look because you can learn from reviews, but I'm not quite as affected, except when people are like, oh, it was a great read. And then they give it like a 2-star review or a 3-star review. And I'm like, but you're recommending it. So I don't, everybody rates things so differently across
I
the board.
know.
I just could no longer keep watching.
Well, and that's what my husband's like. He's like, "Who cares? Stars are subjective." And I'm like, "I know, but
That's
like
so true.
it's still like you're looking at my child and you're like, she's a 3." You know what I mean? Like
Right?
I'm like, don't it's a piece of me. So it is very hard to get past that, but it would be beneficial to your mental health to not be like me. So now that I've publicly admitted that I'm deranged.
I think we all are. I mean, we're putting ourselves out there to actually do this. We do have to wrap up, though. Do you have any calls to action or anywhere? Can you tell me where people can tell us where people can find you if they're interested in learning more or just.
Sure, sure. So I'm Lenny Mac Writes on here. I do have a TikTok. You can find me by a search, but it's, you know, my Kate May series is available at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, BAM, any in stores that are current. And Chasing Stars comes out September 16th. It is on NetGalley right now, and there's a Goodreads going on for it. So if you were interested in reading it early, and yeah, just keep an eye out because I have a release in September, one in March, and another one in June. So I'm really
Awesome.
cranking. Yeah, I'm cranking.
So exciting. Oh my
Uh,
God, totally cranking.
exciting, stressful. It's fun though. I'll never
All of the
complain.
things.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm Christine Drummond Writes on here, also on TikTok, very little, on Threads a little bit more. You can feel free to reach out to me if you need editing services, submission package review, coaching on how to get an agent. I do all of that stuff. Booking through the fall now. And then, yeah, I just ask people to just send good vibes my way that one of these is going to sell for 2025. And, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. This video will be on YouTube. We'll also be like as a reel on Instagram if you missed it or would like to rewatch it. My novels right now are kind of everywhere. You can buy print copies, but they're also for the digital copy, book one. And I just put a novella out on KDP, so it's in Kindle Unlimited, and it's you can jump over there. Also, I'm always on Instagram, so you can find me here too. Thank you guys so much, Lenny. Thank you for
Yeah.
all of your
Thank you,
information.
Brittany.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Sorry I'm a
this
rambler.
is amazing.
No, you're fine. I
Awesome.
hope I wasn't rude. I
This is
was like,
great. Oh my God.
Not even, not even.
okay.
This is great.
We made it work even with the technical difficulties
I
today, guys.
know.
So
You're
that was
you're
a
like a
win.
robot right now. It's coming out robotic sounding.
Time
And
to
everybody
say
who was
goodbye.
everybody who was here, thank you for your questions, and we'll talk to you later next
Yeah.
month.
Bye
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Now I don't know how to leave. No.